Distinguished guests and friends, thank you for this wonderful award on International Women's Day. Good inspiration is so important in all our lives, so it is great to see on International Women's Day such awards. We all know, or perhaps should, that to be successful in what we choose to do, it takes effort, hard work, long hours, persistence and perseverance. Although there is a tendency these days to want rewards without putting in the hard yards. But sometimes to go that bit further, maybe when exhausted or even down, to have good inspiration, we can actually go that bit further. And over at times very difficult or challenging times, I think I can empathize with both. Briefly, it's been challenging to take over a company back in the early 90s with the many difficulties it had. My life for many years was iced coffee in the morning, when time, get ready for office, drive to office, work all day, and then with my wonderful night shift. Then when getting too tired to talk, go home. Usually cold dinner, bed. Next morning that iced coffee and back to office and repeat. It's not one that I'd recommend would suit all, but rarely boring. But the Roy Hill story I do think was and is interesting. Given for our company, it started when BHP had done initial exploration at Roy Hill, decided from their exploration was little or less there of value, and dropped the tenements. Unanimous written professional advice recommended we not take up these ex-BHP tenements, but I was then a young, possibly too enthusiastic chair and wanted to try. Even after our company had successfully applied for the tenements, written professional advice continued, recommending to drop the tenements. Late last year, in December, after our company's successful exploration and years of work, my daughter, execs, partners and me were on the ship that carried our first Roy Hill ore out of Port Hedland Harbour on its voyage to South Korea. And our company's exploration has enabled the basis for Australia's largest iron ore mining project to be built, reaching its capacity of 55 million tonnes per annum next year. Not bad, from an area recommended unanimously not to take on. Of course, this couldn't be done without massive risk investment. Our miner partners and we contributed some $4 billion, then almost ran out of money for the project. Plans to stop were drawn up before the $7 billion of debt financing was raised and available for drawdown. This financing was quite special, involving 19 major banks, including the 11 largest banks in the world, and 5 ECAs, the largest financing in the world's history for a mainland, mainly greenfield mining project. It's investments like this that Australia really needs, and needs to do more to encourage, to maintain our standard of living, provide opportunities and revenue, and hopefully help us with our record debt, and not see us become another Greece. Talking of need to do more to encourage investment, Roy Hill had to go through more than 4,000 time-consuming, expensive, risky government approvals, permits and licenses, even before construction commenced. Haven't yet found any country's government which does more red tape. And at a time of significant commodity price crashes and uncertainty, with all the consequences of opportunity and job losses and loss of revenue, isn't it time our governments realised this regulatory and compliance expense must be urgently cut, and did so to help us maintain our competitiveness? My friend Jim Vietz kindly wrote and produced a song for me about this that I'd like to share with you.
Now my story starts in a simple way. I was out for a walk in the bush one day when I picked up an old red rock in the riverbed. It was heavy and covered with mud and dust. It felt like iron and it looked like rust, so I took it home just to see what the experts said. It seems I stumbled on a treasure all right, a high-grade deposit of hematite, and I decided I would try to open a 9-ore mine. The government said you can go to work, but there's just a few papers that we'll need first, and they sent me home with an application to sign.
I got the mining permit blues, from my head down to my shoes, filling out forms with a name on the bottom line. I'm beginning to feel real low, I got 100 more pages to go, and another day gone before I can open up mine.
You have to get a permit if you want to begin, so I signed an application and I turned it in, and I thought I was finished, but that's just the start of my tale. I was ready to work, I was ready to dig, it all seemed easy and my dreams were big when the postman came with a box in the Monday mail. I opened it up and looked inside, and there I found, to my surprise, lots of new forms for approval before I could start. Seems that in order to fulfill my dream, I'd have to hire a professional team to submit applications in multiple counterparts.
I got the mining permit blues, from my head down to my shoes, filling out forms with a name on the bottom line. I'm beginning to feel real low, I got 100 more pages to go, and another day gone before I can open up mine.
For every possibility in every situation, they conveniently provided another application with a paragraph describing the pertinent law to uphold. Each one had a page of legal explanation to encourage my compliance with all the regulations, and a note at the bottom saying, "Please don't copy or fold." There were forms for building and drilling and clearing, and forms and warnings about non-interfering with the fauna and the flora and the natural vegetation. All the applications have to be reviewed, and after 6 months they all have to be renewed, and my paperwork was growing in perpetual acceleration.
I got the mining permit blues, from my head down to my shoes, filling out forms with a name on the bottom line. I'm beginning to feel real low, I got 100 more pages to go, and another day gone before I can open up mine.
There are penalties for even the smallest transgression and fines for environmental degradation to ensure the survival of every snake and slug. I read those forms with increasing apprehension, considering my conviction in criminal detention if I accidentally step on and squash a protected bug. Now, I've done the best I can do out here to protect the land and the atmosphere by building the world's finest iron ore mine. But just when I think I'm getting ahead, a new permit's needed, and I find instead there'll always be another application to sign.
I got the mining permit blues, from my head down to my shoes, filling out forms with a name on the bottom line. I'm beginning to feel real low, I got 100 more pages to go, and another day gone before I can open up mine. I got the mining permit blues, from my head down to my shoes, filling out forms with a name on the bottom line. I'm beginning to feel real low, I got 100 more pages to go, and another day gone before I can open up mine.
Yes, inspiration is needed, and fortunately there is much around us. Just look at many mothers, and I was especially fortunate, pushing themselves through little sleep at night or night after night, getting up for feeds and or sick children, and often handling the stress and exhaustion of teenage years. What inspiring people our mothers are. Let's look at those in the outback, struggling with little city conveniences through high temperatures, floods, famines, fires, cyclones, poisonous snakes, government regulations, licenses and permits and more. Wonderful Australians, and again, very inspiring. Let's look at our pioneers and early entrepreneurs, the hardships they faced. These inspiring people helped to build our nation. Let's look at the incredible people serving our country to defend us all, currently and throughout Australia's proud history. Let's look at our Olympians, past as well as present. Their incredible dedication and efforts What fantastic ambassadors for our country. And more, carers and those working hard for charitable causes who do so much for others unselfishly, often sacrificing themselves. And another very special and unfortunately large group of people, cancer sufferers, battling their cancers and often harsh chemotherapies and multiple surgeries, researching to find remedies and trying their best to live for family and friends. Truly inspiring people. One of these cancer sufferers, my dear goddaughter Rachel, wanted very much to be here in person. However, unfortunately that was not possible as she continues to battle cancer. Rachel has without question been an amazing inspiration to me, as was her dear mother and my friend, the late Pat Kirith. My cousin Diana Hancock has kindly agreed to deliver a few sentences on Rachel's behalf. What a wonderful country we could be if we chose to benefit from inspiration, instead of trying to tarnish and knock those who work hard through many difficulties and succeed. Thank you.